Good afternoon. Today I'm going to speak about my experience working as a English as a foreign language instructor with the English language programs as an English language fellow. Uh, just as a disclaimer, these experiences are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the U.S. government, the United States Department of State, the U.S. Embassy in Malaysia, National Defense University in Malaysia, or English language programs. This is exclusively my content, my opinion, and my experience. As you may know from my previous videos, I teach English as a foreign language. I have been doing this for many years. And in the 2022 to 2023 academic year, I had the absolute pleasure of being an English language fellow at the National Defense University of Malaysia. This is what I consider to be the peak of my career, the absolute apex of what I can do teaching English as a foreign language. Right here, for example, this is the logo for the English language programs. The world is your classroom, and they are sponsored by the U.S. Department of State. What is an English language fellow? What are the English language programs? They look for highly qualified educators, which require a master's degree and at least 5 years of experience in teaching. The programs are fully funded by the Department of State, and they are designed to assist local embassies to deliver English language programs, which enable public diplomacy, mutual understanding, and cultural exchange in addition to the English teaching. My fellowship, and because they are in conjunction with the local embassies, every single fellowship is different. My fellowship is working with the National Defense University of Malaysia. I am based in Kuala Lumpur, and this program is highly competitive. Every year they have approximately 100 openings around the world. And for those 100 different fellowships, they have approximately 500 applicants. It is a highly competitive process. And for me personally, it took me about 5 years to get a fellowship. I began applying for this program in 2017. I did receive some virtual fellowships during the coronavirus pandemic, where I would do some virtual activities for about 2 hours per week. And then when the world finally opened up for good in the 2022 to 2023 academic year, I was lucky enough to transition that into an in-person fellowship here at the National Defense University of Malaysia. The primary goal of my fellowship, in addition to public diplomacy, mutual understanding, and cultural exchange, is to teach English for academic writing to the first-year cadets at my university, which is what I have been doing. It's very enjoyable. I have excellent students, and they try very well. That is about an overview of the program and how people get matched. Because there are so many applicants, the embassy, when they have their goals for the in-country programs, they receive a list of different fellows based on their resumes and applications, what strengths would fit their programs well. And that is how I was able to be matched with Malaysia. And here in Malaysia, there are a total of 4 fellows, myself and 3 others. There is 1 other in Kuala Lumpur and 2 other in different provinces. We are all doing different projects. The other fellow in Kuala Lumpur, for example, is involved with teacher training. She is working with the students at her university, the 4th-year students, the seniors who will be graduating, and working on them with their teacher prep programs. And whereas the other two fellows are doing different projects at their respective programs. So it's not always with the university. Sometimes it's teacher training centers and things like that. But I happen to be assigned to a university. And as I mentioned at the outset, it's kind of like my dream job as far as teaching English as a foreign language. I happen to be sponsored by the U.S. State Department. Although I do not work for the State Department, I am an independent contractor. I have many different materials they provided for us with that logo. As such, it's fully funded, and there are many different resources available to help make sure my lessons are dynamic and engaging. And I have many resources to provide support and increase local teaching capacity for the local Malaysian teachers. So really, this is absolutely the culmination of my career. I've been trying to get this position for the last 5 years. And I did begin with some virtual programs. I did a virtual fellowship with students in Nepal. And then 1 year ago, I did another virtual fellowship with the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, something similar to our Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard, to just kind of help them increase their English capacity. And I apparently did a good enough job at the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency that the embassy decided to extend me an offer for an in-person fellowship. But I had to wait a long time. I finished that virtual fellowship in April, and the in-person fellowship would not begin until October. So I had many months to wait for it to start. And in addition, my fellowship was further delayed because the Malaysian government changed their requirements for visas. So there was some miscommunication, and my visa paperwork did not get turned in on time. So I ended up coming to Malaysia about 2 or 3 weeks later than originally planned. The semester began October 15th, and I arrived in country October 28th, I think I want to say. So a few weeks late, which worked out well for me. It gave me extra time with family, friends, and loved ones. I got to spend a few more weeks with the love of my life, which was absolutely amazing and wonderful. I got to take her, my mom, and Ice's son up north in Michigan to look at the colors, the autumn colors. And I also got to take my mom and other family members out to the Detroit Institute of Arts. They were holding a very special Van Gogh in America exhibit. Um, and of course, I also got to hold the love of my life's hand a few more times and spend time together talking and everything. So from there, I finally got the visa, and once I had the visa, it was really quick. Within the week, they had my plane ticket booked, and I was off, which I was, of course, quite anxious to get started. Unfortunately, it is quite the flight from Detroit. Actually, I left from my hometown of Flint, Michigan, to get to Kuala Lumpur. I had to first go to Chicago, and then Chicago to Tokyo, and Tokyo to Kuala Lumpur. I ended up arriving after midnight, and I had a funny single entry visa because of the immigration problems. And at immigration coming in, they were confused. I had to go to a separate line. And even at the separate line, the customs agent was confused and asked to see my invitation letter and other things. And then once I finally was accepted through into customs, I had to go take my passport in to get the permanent residency visa to last the rest of the year. So I ended up getting picked up from the airport about 2 a.m. I was tired, grumpy after all of those long flights, and I forgot to exchange some of my money. So I had to find a 2 a.m. ATM at the hotel in order to pay the limo driver, which was another fun thing. But the embassy set me up with a very nice hotel near the central area of Kuala Lumpur. It was a wonderful, wonderful hotel, very relaxing, very modern. And so when I checked in, I had a weekend to kind of get over the jet lag. The time change from Michigan to Malaysia is more than 12 hours during daylight savings. So that took me several days. While I was staying at the hotel, it was in central Kuala Lumpur, so I did get to walk around a little bit and explore the city. On that Saturday and Sunday, I went to the very famous Petronas Towers, which when they were built in 1999 were the tallest building in the world. Of course, that has been taken over in Dubai, but now it remains the tallest dual standing towers in the world. I did not go up them, but I did walk around the park and take some selfies in front of the building and just enjoy the ambiance and the area. And that building is on a mall as well, which I was very surprised to see how modern it was, chic and up to date. They had many different luxury goods stores. For example, the Body Shop for people's lotions and shampoos and everything like that. They have Cold Stone Creamery here in Kuala Lumpur, which I was very surprised to see. A&Ws and many other modern Western conveniences, which I was not expecting to see, but did. Um, so I enjoyed that, and they had a really wonderful, amazing bookstore on top of that mall. So I spent the first weekend, trying to get over jet lag, not really successfully, but close enough. And then on that Monday morning, I went to the embassy, the U.S. Embassy, to begin the process. So I had to do some meetings around the embassy and then go get some paperwork and other things taken care of. And then they took me to my site, my first time going to the National Defense University of Malaysia, which, because it is a defense university, happens to be in the middle of an army camp. So there is great security, and it is surrounded by military campus and things like that. Um, so I was greeted when we arrived by the lieutenant colonel who is responsible for the language center there at NDUM. And he gave me a quick whirlwind tour of the campus, as well as setting me up in my office. And then a few minutes after that, we just got back in his car, and he took me to my housing, where I would be living for this 10-month contract. And it's near the campus, but because the campus is on a military base, I need to have a driver pick me up and drop me off. And the apartment is pretty nice. It's a 3-bedroom, which frankly is 2 more bedrooms than I need. I have 2 rooms for storage that I don't really go into much. It's got a kitchen, and of course, on site, they have a gym, a swimming pool, there's even a convenience store, and many other things. The problem was when I got here, it was basically an empty apartment. The only thing they had was furniture. So there was no bedding, no pillows, no kitchen tools. So there's no stove, no rice cooker, no washing machine, no Wi-Fi. So right away, I struggled. Um, as soon as we signed the papers and I said goodbye to the people, I kind of broke down and had a cry, and called my partner to see if I could get some support from her. But of course, with the time difference, she was very much asleep and didn't wake up until much later. But when she did, it was very comforting. And then the sponsorship by the U.S. State Department means that I can buy what I need to for living arrangements. I just had to go out and go get a price and make a shopping list of what I needed before I could buy it. You have to make a list of what you're going to buy, how much it costs, and then get approval from the local embassy and from Georgetown. Which once I made the list, it was approved right away. So I went into the university on Tuesday for my first day of teaching, and then that Thursday afternoon I went shopping for my necessary things. So I did have to unfortunately sleep on the couch for a few days, and I did have to unfortunately eat out and only eat like instant noodles for a couple of days, which was very unfortunate. But thankfully, I had a lot of support from loved ones back home who helped talk me up and make me feel better. And in addition, I was back in the classroom right away. And once I started teaching, it felt much better, of course. I love being in front of the students, delivering lessons, helping them learn things, develop their English skills. And they were just great, wonderful students. As military cadets, you ask them to do something, and they do it. And around the campus, most people will say hello to me, good morning, sir, and so on. I am a vegetarian, which is kind of a problem with Malaysia because they put chicken in everything. But the students were very helpful in helping me find the one place on campus where I can get a meal that does not have chicken in it. It's not only just one booth, it's one meal at one booth. So that was a concern. But teaching helped a lot. It helped my mind. And because it is a program that the university has been using for a while, they helped prepare my lectures and PowerPoint materials for me. So I was just delivering that content and adding my own expertise and activities to supplement them to help the students understand better. So once I was settled in, I kind of got a chance to go around and explore. It was very helpful that I am placed in Kuala Lumpur because Kuala Lumpur is a big major city with many things to do. So the first weekend I was available to go out and be a tourist. I went to the city to like a central market to buy a few souvenirs already. And I walked around their Chinatown and got a churro, which is nice. I love churros. Um, yeah, it was just great. And being a tourist, so the first couple of weekends, I would teach during the week, going through the lesson materials with my students, and then on the weekends, I would go to Kuala Lumpur and kind of explore some of the interesting things that they have. There was the Central Market in Chinatown that I just mentioned. There is an Islamic art museum, which is just big and beautiful with all sorts of different artistic materials influenced by Islam. I went to a butterfly park, which my life partner really enjoyed seeing the pictures and videos of, and I think she would have really loved being with me. But unfortunately, well, fortunately, I suppose, she has her own career back in Michigan, and of course, the son is in school, so there's not really going to be an opportunity for her to come and to visit. Um, and then a week or so after I arrived, another fellow came. And so the embassy arranged our 1 day meeting to go over security expectations and everything like that. At which point I verified that I could get a couple things for my kitchen. So by now, my apartment had been furnished. The homeowner had to buy a washing machine and ordered a gas stove. But I have not used the gas stove because there's no ventilation hood. But I have used the washing machine, and I have one of those convection plates for cooking, a rice cooker, and of course, I was able to buy many of the other goods and services like necessary to keep and maintain the apartment. Um, and then after that meeting, I went to go try and get some more things from the bookstore, and then navigate using the local subway systems, which is an elevated train or a metro rapid transit (MRT). to help get around Kuala Lumpur in public transport. And the students are great. The students do what I ask when I ask them to do it. They're very hardworking, very diligent. Um, so that's fantastic. And I got to another weekend. Um, they had an election here in Malaysia, and in order, voting is compulsory, so everyone has to vote. And on top of that, they have to go back to their hometowns to vote. So because of that, I had an extended weekend. And I used that opportunity to go to a tourist place called Batu Caves, which is the largest Hindu temple outside of India, which is great. They have a big golden statue of Lord Murugan, and then many different colored steps to climb up into the caves. And inside the caves, they have the various Hindu temples. And the place is populated by monkeys. I was warned that they could be aggressive, but they were okay with me. Um, and I got to enjoy that. And then I went to some other um, tourist shopping things around Kuala Lumpur for that weekend, and enjoyed the long weekend, and just continued teaching. And with the various holidays throughout the year, I decided to do some traveling. When the students had their mid-semester break, I took a short trip to Singapore, which is very nice. It's very nearby. And that was an enjoyable couple days away from Kuala Lumpur to see a new city, new country even, and collect some new coins for my collection. A couple weeks later, there was an extended weekend because of Christmas. So I went to Malacca, which is one of those former colonies that the Europeans showed up. First, the Portuguese took it, and then the Dutch took it from the Portuguese, and then the English took it from the Dutch, and then during World War II, the Japanese took it, and then the British took it back until finally Malaysia got their independence in the 1950s. So it was a beautiful little area decorated with European-style buildings and many different nice little tourist things to do. I enjoyed that very much. And then more extended weekends for New Year's. And I also ended up going to a place called Penang, Georgetown, which is another. Malacca Strait was very important to the colonial times, to the European agents. They used this area to get goods from Asia back to Europe, from China and stuff. So there are many different cities in this area which served as hubs for the European traders, and Georgetown was another one of those. So you've probably heard of Singapore, you may have heard of Malacca, and Georgetown was another one. So it's great that I have the opportunity to go and see some of these tourist challenges, excuse me, not tourist challenges, tourist sites on top of that. So it's a great opportunity for cultural exchange and public diplomacy. And yeah, that's about it for the first 4 months. I'm at the halfway mark right now. So my students will be beginning their final exams this week. So because of that, they are studying. And I had to attend a mid-year conference where the different fellows in the region all came together. We discussed our different projects, our best practices. We discussed rooms for improvement, and then attended a TESOL conference. So it was a 4-day get-together, 2 days with the other regional fellows, and they were from many different Asian countries. So Malaysia, Thailand, the Philippines, Mongolia. I'm probably leaving out a few other. Oh, Indonesia, of course, and I'm probably leaving out some other places that could not attend. Beijing attended as well from Beijing, but they don't have any fellows right now. And then the 2-day conference for teaching English to speakers of other languages was a big event with lots of different interesting seminars and workshops to attend. So I'm glad I had that opportunity as well to learn about that. And of course, the U.S. State Department sponsors this project, so they reimbursed us for attending those things, and they will reimburse me for improving the local teaching capacity, so I can attend other conferences. I can help get other goods and services, materials to my university, and I'm really just looking forward to that. So my students will be getting their final exams this week, and I look forward to seeing how well their academic writing has improved over the course of this semester. So all in all, it has been a very exciting 4 months, the first 4 months of this career process where I am working as an English language fellow in conjunction with the English language programs, which is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State. Really just the peak of my career as a TEFL instructor. I'm very grateful and very happy that I could be here and participate in this program. And I want to thank you for listening to my spiel. And I want to thank the English language program for matching me to such a wonderfully fulfilling opportunity. That is all for today. So thank you for listening to my explanation of my first half of my English language fellowship. Have a great day. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy the contents of this and my other videos.